Layers are used to group objects in a drawing by function and to enforce standards for color, line type, line weight, and other properties. Layers are the equivalent of the overlays once used in paper-based drafting. By creating layers, you can associate similar types of objects by assigning them to the same layer. For example, you can put construction lines, text, dimensions, and title blocks on separate layers. You can also organize objects by function, and you can assign default object properties including color, line type, and line weight to each layer. For example, you might create a layer for the foundation of the building, a layer for the exterior walls of the building, and yet another layer for the interior walls. Then, you might have separate layers for light fixtures, HVAC, plumbing, and so on. This way, the entire building can be saved in a single drawing file, and you can use layers to control what you want to see at any particular time. Layers are an important organizational tool and can reduce the visual complexity of a drawing and improve display performance by controlling how objects are displayed or plotted. With layers, you can control the following: whether the objects on a layer are visible or hidden, whether objects use the default properties such as color, line type, or line weight for the layer, or whether object properties are assigned individually for each object, whether and how objects on a layer are plotted, whether the objects on a layer are locked and cannot be modified, whether objects display with different layer properties in individual layout viewports. Each drawing includes a layer named 0. Layer 0 cannot be deleted or renamed to ensure that every drawing includes at least one layer. In general, you should always create several new layers with which to organize your drawing rather than create your entire drawing on layer 0. These layers can be saved in a drawing template, a file with a .dwt file extension, to make them available automatically in a new drawing. Each drawing can have as many layers as you want. A layer name can be up to 256 characters long and can include letters, numbers, spaces, and several special characters. Layer lists are sorted alphabetically. To organize all of those layers, you should choose names carefully. Use common prefixes to name layers with related drawing components to make it easier to manipulate groups of layers. You may be required to name layers based on corporate, industry, or client standards, and many professional organizations publish layering standards that you can use to name the various layers in the drawing. Once you have created objects on specific layers, you can use those layers to control the visibility of objects. When you do not need to see the objects on a particular layer, you can turn the layer off. When you need to see the objects again, you can turn that layer on. Once visible, you can usually modify the geometry on any layer at any time as long as the layer is not locked. But you can only create geometry on the top or current layer. So when you are using a command to draw lines, arcs, or circles, or to place text or dimensions, the geometry you create is placed on the current layer. So in order to create or place an object on the proper layer, you must first make sure that the layer on which the object should be created is the current layer.